A website is not always a registered legal business, and vice versa. Policies and regulations versus civil laws. Welcome to another episode of Argentech Radio. Today I'm going to talk about an issue that I identify on websites, especially those owned and developed by globalists and companies that are using internal policies listed on their websites, pretending to rule even domestic laws in the countries where they operate. What do I mean with this? For example, companies that are globally operating in the housing industry, disrupting, or let's call it what it really is, destroying the housing market and contributing only with the creation of a housing crisis, mostly used by real estate investors. For all those who operate discarding domestic laws, they need to understand that when you do transactions online, whether electronic contracts or paper-based, following your made-up private policy guidelines, you're breaching civil laws of the countries where you operate. Why? Because while your developer states as policy guidelines on your website, it doesn't have much, if not any, legal entity, and cannot override the domestic or internal laws of the country where you operate. So just because you think not everyone understands web development, that doesn't mean you can decide what are the laws applicable to consumers within countries, especially those regarding refunding processings. I came to this conclusion after having an experience with Airbnb. I booked the place to stay. I had to cancel it 15 days prior to arrival because of due to a natural disaster, so I never actually arrived, and then the transaction never happened. Therefore, the consumer laws of the country where I purchased the services applies, and I was entitled to a full refund even when they did not offer other than a partial refund. I may accept a small fee or commission for using a website, which was pretty much making a few clicks. But what these companies do is applying a text listed on their website as if that was the actual law, which means they are all breaching internal civil laws in every country where they operate, and they need to start aligning their policy guidelines to such domestic laws. To simplify, just because you write a statement with what your policies are in your website, the user of your website does not have any obligation to follow or abide your statements, as they are not the law where your website operates. Therefore, they don't have any validity itself. I mean, your policy guidelines have no legal validity in the countries where you operate. They're just what they are, another page attached to your website with a privately written policy made up either by AI or the web developer you hire to build your site. As the public constantly confuses these policies with laws and businesses with websites, every country should start looking more carefully what domestic, civil, and administrative laws are these type of companies abiding or breaching when operating indiscriminately in different countries, becoming global, disrupting all type of industries. Conclusion: a website is not always a legal registered business, and a business has not always a website. The policy guidelines of a website, whether it's a website of a valid registered business or not, does not have legal entity over any domestic or internal civil laws of any country. And the use of private agreements or partnerships among these companies and the countries where they intend to operate, or where they do operate actually, those private agreements, they don't override constitutional and civil laws of those countries. Thanks for watching. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. See you on the next video.